Good morning, welcome to day 95 of my Munros challenge. Today I'm walking route number 86, the steepest hill in Scotland, Beinn Sgritheall, Hill of Skree. I'm parked on the grass, pulling on the grass, not in the passing place, from where I'm attempting to start this walk from. So I'm going to walk back up the lane about 400 yards and hit a right and go straight up. Fabulous start to the day. Little island out there in the estuary. And I'm looking up here where we're heading. It is steep. Very, very steep. So there's a faint footpath here on the roadside. And it's shooting straight up to that shoulder. And then the plan is to follow the ridge line all the way up to the summit. So that's the plan. Let's see how steep the steepest hill in Scotland is. What a fabulous shot. Now at the minute the path's running diagonally into the woods, so I expect it's going to get steeper in the woods. At the minute it's not overly steep. Okay, it gets steep. Yeah, quite steep through the forest. So yes, it was a steep path. Look, going through the forest, as you might be able to see. Good thing about forest path like that is you got lots of young saplings to hold on to and help drag yourself up. So we're still heading up to this ridge line, and then we're going to make our way to the summit over there. Wow, look at that. Look at that. The top is the peak you can see on the right. It's about 50 metres higher than the one you can see on the left. Now I do believe if you approach this from the other side, you've got to climb the one on the left as well. The closer you get, the steeper it gets. Quick look round, and there's about 550 metres here contour, so wow, they're the coolings. Gotta be, haven't they? Right, let's get on with this. Looks steep. Now we're getting to the business end. Out we stand, straight up. Wow, here we go. I have to say it is steep, but it's a really good path that zigzags and wiggles and winds all the way up this ridge side, if you like, and it makes the progress quite quick. Well, you can see the island down there close to where we parked the van. As per usual, stands 50 yards ahead, sat looking down at me. Well, we're nearly at the top. There's that other top over there. It's got a bit rocky, but as I say, fabulous path. Absolutely fabulous path. Winding and wiggling its way through all the crags and rocks. Awesome. Really enjoying this mountain. Beinn Sgritheall. What an absolutely amazing mountain. Wow. Oh my god, that'd be Noidart over there. So Larven will be over there. Oh, they were hard days. There's the Isle of Skye. I'll be there in 18 days, I think the guide's booked to finish the Cooling Ridge. That's 18 days time. Hopefully I'll have weather like this. Absolutely breathtaking. So you can see where we parked the car. So this is apparently the steepest hill in Scotland. Now I have to say, it didn't feel any steeper than some of the others have been up, but I have been up some beasties recently. What a fabulous top. There's two trig points on this one. We're going to follow this fabulous path which will wiggle around all these rocks and steeply descend until we get to the more grassy section, where we'll drop down to that lochen you can see on its own. Now at that lochen, that's where we hang a left and drop extremely steeply through that wood all the way down to the car. That's a great shot. Look at that path just disappearing off the edge of that cliff, dropping into the abyss. I love this hill. I really like this mountain. So just about at the lochen down there, we'll hang a left when we just drop down this last bit, and then we've got a really steep descent through a very boggy, squelchy forest. So I've had a rush of blood and I saw the ferry sign driving back to the Isle of Skye. Apparently this is the shortest crossing, shortest distance that Skye is to the mainland, and I've decided to get the ferry over and do Bla Bheinn this afternoon. Plenty of daylight, it's only midday, so let's go for it, shall we? I might regret this, you never know. Not only is it the shortest crossing, it's possibly the smallest car ferry I've ever seen as well. Good afternoon. So, still on the same day, Route 51, Bla Bheinn, the Blue Hill. Let's get on with it really, because I don't want to be finishing too late. The plan is to follow the burn right the way through, around that gap you can see ahead. Eventually we're going to hang a right onto that ridge line and make our way up to the summit. These hills are just so rugged. They're just breathtaking. It's not that it's steep and I'm out of breath, it's the hills. Good Stan, as usual, 50 yards ahead, watching me. So we're going to cut round that corner, and then eventually we're going to get on the ridge and make our way up to the top. We've got a better view there of the track cutting up into that corrie. It looks to steepen up a bit there, and I would imagine by the time we get to the ridge it'll be very steep. Well, up until now the path has been very steady, but you can see it starts to ramp. The gradient picks up now up to the head of this corrie. Wow. So here we are at the head of the corrie. There doesn't look to be anywhere to go, does there? Whatever happens, it's going to be steep. Daydreaming away, and I was heading up to that scree, took a map check and realised it's not up there at all. It's up this way. In fact, there's people up here now, so you can see the path. So that's the way I'm heading. It serves me right for not being more vigilant with my maps. I've just wasted half an hour messing about. Stan watching. It's quite steep, but good path. A bit scree, but zigzagging all the way up. So it looks like we've got a bit of a mild scramble up there. Let's keep going. Can't be too far, he says. Do a quick pano. Wow, that's awesome. This is so dramatic, it's awesome. We've still got about 200 metres plus of ascent. Still quite rocky. Let's keep going. The scenery is just, it's just unique. It's awesome. Just awesome. Like I say, we've got about 200 metres of ascent from here, so let's get me back into it and let's get this done. Stan and I have had a right scramble up there. Don't know how Stan got up it. Don't know how I got up it, never mind Stan. We're only 20 metres or so from the summit now of ascent. Not so far at all now. So here we are, Bla Bheinn. Wow. Let's have a look at the cooling ridge in all its glory. Wow. So we've done some of them, but not all of them. So I'm retracing my steps back down to the car. Now you can see the car park right at the bottom near the end of the estuary, and where there's a copse of trees. That's where the car's parked. A long way down. A bit of scrambling to do as well. Just looking back up. Now there's one or two scrambles up there, but the path there's lots of different ways. You know, there's more than one path. There's various routes up. So I've come down a slightly different route, which was less scrambly than the one I went up. Only because I didn't fancy getting stand down the big climb that we made. So as I'm making my way down here, I think after this section now the path just becomes screey and much less scrambly. So here I am back at the head of the corrie. Now if you remember, I daydreaming and I wandered up that path up towards the scree, and then I realised that was on the wrong track. Now the real way was over that way, and it looks daunting, but there are various paths up various gullies, and if I've come down a different way to the way I went up, but it's all very, very achievable. Nothing as bad as it looks. So I'm back on the main path now, which will take me back down to the car. Almost there. So once we cross that burn, the footpath from memory is a lot less rocky, a lot less steep, and it's the end of a very big day for me. Hi, welcome to day 95 of my Munro challenge. So today I walked routes number 86 and route number 51. That was a surprise. Beinn Sgritheall, the steepest hill in Scotland. So I decided to park on the roadside rather than where other people park further down in the village. And I think I probably went up the route where people would normally descend. So it was still steep. It went through a very boggy section initially up to the woods, and then at the woods it became very steep. The path was still in and out of bog, and you was having to use the small trees, you know, as handholds, just to help yourself up some of the steep sections. And then you left the trees, and you still had to make your way up to the ridgeline and the lochen. At which point the grading eases quite a bit, and you follow the ridgeline all the way up until you get to a very small section of scree that you've got to cross. At which point the path ramps, and it becomes very steep again. But I have to say, there's an absolutely fabulous path, wiggling and zigzagging all its way, all the way up to the summit, you know, taking you around all the various crags and rocks and whatnot. And what a summit. In fact, what a mountain. I thoroughly enjoyed this mountain. I'm looking over Knoydart, and then over to the Isle of Skye, and you can see all Cooling Ridge, and it's just a fabulous summit. And just retrace your steps really back to the car. It's quite a short day. It was just under 5 miles, 3,047 feet of ascent, and it took me under 4 hours. It took me 3 hours 50 minutes. So it's quite a short walk. Consequently, I had finished a lot earlier than expected and had a bit of time on my hands. And I guess maybe I've been looking at the Skye Ridge, I don't know, but driving back I passed the sign for a little ferry and I thought, that's me. So headed to Bla Bheinn, and what a mountain, what a mountain. Dramatic, so dramatic, but all the mountains on Skye. I parked at the car park, the Bla Bheinn car park, and I followed a very, very, very steady path for quite some time until you crossed the burn, at which point it got steeper and much rockier. It's quite difficult underfoot actually. I was watching a myriad of people coming down, really struggling on the terrain. And eventually you get to the top of the corrie. Now I did go wrong here, because somehow I decided to carry on up to a scree slope, and I suppose that it's kind of lending itself to do that, when really you need to turn right up what looks to be almost an impossible path and way up, but in reality there's a myriad of paths taking you up to the summit. It does look, and is very, very steep, but there are, as I say, there's a myriad of paths, all good, taking you there. Very rocky, very slippy, very scree, and when you get higher up it's extremely scrambly, but worth it. Really is worth it. Absolutely fabulous views from the top. You're looking all across the cooling ridge. It's just awesome. Absolutely fabulous mountain. Bla Bheinn, wow. So that was totally unexpected. So then I retraced my steps, and again it's quite a short day. That was just over 6 miles, and it was a bang on 3,000 feet of ascent, and it took me just over 4 hours, 4 hours 20 minutes. So all in all, I walked 11 miles today, but I did an eye-watering 6,047 feet of ascent, and a total of 8 hours 10 minutes. Very doable, the two mountains together. So I've proved it.